give me one shot here on a blue chip stock, believe me, Kevin, the only problem you're gonna have is that you didn't buy more.
Nobody knows if the stock is gonna go up, down, sideways, or in circles.
What's going on, NBA draft fans? Your boys are back. The Wolves of Wall Street, your favorite draft analyst, the Draft Deck, NBA Draft Podcast. My name is Corey Tulba. I am here, as always, with my co-host, Albert. Garbage Time. Gim. Albert, what's popping?
What's popping is our intro song. I know it plays every damn episode, but we have the best intro song. It's so good. I feel so amped right now and ready to go. It might be the energy that's coming from our guest right now. Whenever he's on, I feel even more amped because I feel like he's going to make some joke about me, which I love and I'm ready for. But no, all jokes aside, I'm good to go. I'm excited. We have a weird, fun, exciting exercise that we're going to partake in as a three-way, as a trio. There's a lot to be excited for. Big three is in the house, is how I feel right now, boys.
Yes, sir. We have the minister of memes, the conductor of chaos, Mr. Backcourt Violation himself, Tyler Rucker, in the house, live and in person. Tyler, what is good?
It feels great to be back with all of you. You know, I feel like I did a couple of these without Albert. So having the trio, the three amigos back to do this fun exercise, and I'm sure there's not going to be any overreactions on the internet to this. So it's going to be fun. We're going to have a wild time, get a little crazy.
Wild is the theme. So I was watching It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And
Underrated show. Good show.
I mean, just unbelievably rewatchable. It's funny every single time. And, you know, I was watching the Wildcard episode where they're trying to figure out their roles in like the gang. They're like trying to compare themselves to the Ghostbusters, and they deem Charlie the wild card, right? And this ultimately, spoiler alert, leads to him like, you know, cutting the brakes on a van. And so I figured, why not theoretically pop the shirts off and have like a wild card mock draft, because we know we're a week away from the draft. Everybody's mock drafts look pretty damn similar. There's a lot of consensus groupthink happening, and we know that's not what is going to happen on draft night. There's going to be chaos on draft night. There are going to be wild card picks made on draft night. Now, the purpose of this wild card mock draft is not to be like totally insane. We still want it to be feasible. We just want it to get a little bit wild and see how that would cause, you know, a butterfly ripple effect through the rest of the draft and the decisions that other teams would have to make based on some of these wild card selections. So every now and again, we're going to throw out a name that we think is feasible, that a team might actually draft, but in the grand scope of things would be kind of shocking on draft night. So, Rucker, you're going to go first. You have the Orlando Magic on the board. They are, by consensus, by the betting odds, going to go either Chet or Paolo. But who is going to kick us off in this wild card mock draft?
Chet or Jabari, right? Or are we really just wild right now? Am I crazy? No. I'm flattered. I'm flattered you guys thought of a wild episode, and I was your first thought. So I really appreciate that. It's only fitting. Let's just do it. I'm going to take Paulo. So we think it's going to be Chet or Jabari, but, you know, I'm going to take Paulo Banchero, shake things up, just send a message right away with this. Do I think this could happen? Probably not. I mean, it does make a lot of sense, though, when you talk it out, because Orlando needs a bucket getter. Paulo could be that. They got intriguing pieces with Jalen Suggs, Cole Anthony, Franz Wagner. You know, it would make some sense. We'll see, but I would still love that fit, even if it was just a complete curveball on draft night. So I'll go Paulo at number one, start this off on the right note, and, you know, hopefully the listeners are still watching. Hopefully they didn't turn it off right away. Appreciate it.
I mean, look, that is the wild card pick.
That is the wild card.
That's the wild card pick, but it could happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Paulo was the consensus number 2 guy most of the year. He came in with the pedigree that he was potentially going to be the number 1 pick. We just did an episode of the Draft Act Pod with Ricky O'Donnell from SB Nation. And in his last mock draft, who he thinks should go 1. He said he thinks Paolo should go 1. There are people out there that believe that Paolo Banchero can go 1. And as he said, the reasoning is like Orlando doesn't have a number 1 guy. And Paolo is probably the guy most likely in this top 3 grouping that has the most potential to be a lead primary scorer. And you add in the playmaking, the initiating, it's not the craziest thing. There's a path where Orlando is like 6'10", handles the rock. We just watched Jason Tatum, lead his team to the finals as this buckety guy who could score, pass, dribble, defend. We think Paolo could be that. We're going to put that next to Franz. We're going to have this jumbo front court of 2 big wings. And this is how we're building out our team. I could see it. It's a wild card pick, but it makes some sense.
Yeah, it does. It does, Corey. It does. We're gonna get wild today, but maybe not ridiculously wild. And I get it. It's probably not the consensus. But also to Alex, right? Alex wrote a great piece about Paolo, and I'm sure he would have taken Paolo at that spot. For the record, if I had the first pick, I would have gotten stupid and just taken Shaedon Sharpe there, but who knows? Maybe that's why things worked out, right?
We want you to be a wild card. We don't want you to.
We're not. We want you to be a psychopath. We want you to be a wild card, not a psychopath.
Okay. This is the beginning of the episode. We're not at the ending where they're cutting the breaks. This is the beginning of the episode.
But guys, let's do really quick thought exercise. Is there a world, a universe, right, a reality, right? If we get into Marvel terms, where 5 years from now we look back at this draft class and go, why didn't Shaedon Sharpe go first? You guys discuss.
There is most certainly a universe out there. I'm probably the highest on Sharpe of all of Team No Ceilings.
You are for sure.
I'm a believer. Sure. I think that he has innate things that are unteachable, and I think that's a really interesting thing to work with. I think having been a part of the high school level and seeing how COVID has affected the trajectory of players firsthand, I think that that's something we have to consider. And I think that a team has to be patient with him. It's probably not going to be in year 1 or year 2, but he's one of these guys that it's like, hey, Anthony Simons is really awesome now. And Portland was really patient with him. And I think that Sharpe has better size, a smoother jumper, a better frame, probably equal amounts of bounciness, but with all that, it just wouldn't shock me if he turned out to be this guy who one day was a consistent all-star player, and that could be the best player in the draft. I'm not ready to get there for this wild card draft, Albert, but
there's a world.
And Shaedon Sharpe's going to come up at some point in this draft. We're not going to be a wild card and not draft him, so we'll talk about him briefly. All right, you're up at number 2 for OKC, and now, initially we probably thought, okay, well, they're probably just going to take whoever isn't taken between Jabari and Chet. Well, guess what, motherfuckers? Now they got to choose between the two.
Well, all right, plot twist. I'm taking Jaden Ivey here. Just kidding. Okay. Thunder fans would figure out a way to stab me over Twitter. So let me not do that. I'll play it safe here. Okay. Let's not, since we went wild with number 1, I'll go safe here and take Chet. Or maybe people will say the safe bet is to take Jabari. Well, screw you. I think Chet's a better player. I think Chet should be number 1 in this draft. He's number 1 on my big board because he's freaking number 1 awesome. He's number 1 in my hearts. I want to kiss his draft stock. That's weird. But I have Chet going here number 2 because Chet is a freak. He's a freak. Okay. I love Chet so much. I don't remember the last time we talked about Chet. So here we go. Right. I love the competitiveness with that dude. Rucker and I, we flew all the way to Las Vegas to watch this guy play. I literally stood 2 feet away from him. I could touch him. He could smell me. We could high five. A lot of things could have potentially happened, but didn't, right? Because we're decent human beings. But I saw him in person. His legs look a lot stronger and sturdier than they look on TV. He's not as skinny as he looks on TV. There's a weird visual effect that happens with him on TV where he looks a lot thinner than he actually is. They usually say that the camera adds 10 pounds, but for Chet, he loses about 40. He's a good, sturdy dude. And the thing that Rucker and I were so impressed with him, he's a dog. He's an absolute dog. He stood up to everybody. And actually, my favorite observation that Rucker made that I agreed with when we were there, Rucker was like, look at him as a teammate. Just watch him when he wasn't on the floor, when he was on the bench. Look at him as he literally pointed him out to me. I was like, Albert, look at him right now. And he was up, he was clapping. He's not like a loud, rah guy, but he's a very present teammate, right? And that's, I get it. Those are intangibles. But if you take that, you couple who he is character-wise, and then you go with all the other stuff and the fact that I think a lot of the concerns with him are overblown, he's an incredible prospect. So at number 2, I have the Thunder taking Chet, and they would be look, I think it could happen in real life too, right? It's very possible. I think the Thunder, if they get Chet in the building with the playmakers that they have, that's an absolute grand slam home run for them.
How do I go wild and Albert gets to play safe right away? That just seems like we just cool, Albert, way to throw me under the bus. Literally. No, but I mean, I almost said screw it and took Chet anyway. So I hear exactly. I get it.
I mean, Rucker and I just wrote a tag team piece on Chet and why we believe people are overthinking him. And, you know, we went into the reasons why people are you know, skeptics of his game or his build or whatever. But like, we think it's just, he's being overthought, and we think he brings enough of those skills added with the intangibles and the potential of NBA spacing, NBA offense. And we're just like, we think he's the number 1 guy in the class. So for the Thunder here to get him at 2, which is something that might actually happen on draft night. They just had a little bit, you know, tougher of a decision here with Jabari on the board. I think it's the right move. So I'm on the clock at number 3 for the Houston Rockets. And I'm going to take Jabari Smith here.
Okay.
This is somebody who I feel like there has not been a ton of chatter about as of recently for Houston, because it seems like he's just like a lock to go 1 or 2 apparently. But now with Houston, you have Christian Wood, who was just moved. Jabari Smith fits in the front court with Alperen Şengün like an absolute glove. I love his fit with Jalen Green as a partner. It takes some of the pressure off of Jabari Smith to be, you know, a number 1 option, which personally I don't feel he is. I feel like he's much more of a complimentary number 2 type guy who's going to be, you know, elite at playing off of a primary guy. I think Jalen Green could get there. I love that fit. I love kind of the work ethic and the attitude of those 2 guys. I think that it's just, I love the fit here. I love the potential. You know, Jabari Smith isn't personally my number 3 guy, but I think contextually at this part of the draft, it's hard to argue him being there and growing with Jalen Green and Jay Gupp and Şengün and Kevin Porter Jr., who I think eventually is going to get moved, and, you know, whatever they do in this draft, with their other picks, I think that it's a pretty interesting option. And we feel our first ripple effect of this wild card mock. All right. Number 4, Sacramento is on the clock, and you have full freedom to do what I know you want to do.
I'm doing it. I'm doing Keegan Murray. You want to get wild? Let's get wild. Welcome to the Wild West.
Surprise.
Population Sacramento Kings. No, I mean, we saw the Gavoni mock this morning with the little breadcrumb of saying, you know, they might be warming up to Keegan Murray, and Vivek is a Keegan Murray fan, and, you know, shout out Nick Stauskas.
I just watched that the other day.
It never gets old. That clip will never die. The internet will never let that die. But I do like the fit. I know it's going to be a little rich for some people's taste, especially with, you know, Jaden Ivey on the board. I still think they could go Ivey there, even if there's rumblings that he doesn't want to go there. But let's get wild. I still like the fit with Keegan Murray. I think I jokingly said earlier today, I think that's like the pick the Kings usually don't make, is getting someone like Keegan Murray. And then someone was like, well, they just took Tyrese Halliburton a couple years ago. And I go, yeah, too soon. So, I mean, I like the idea.
Sabonis here.
Yes, we love Sabonis. So
we're a Sabonis podcast.
I'm going to get Keegan Murray in there. Man. they want to
No,
win.
my brother.
They want to win. So we're taking Keegan Murray there, and now we're really going to get a little wild moving forward. So there you guys go.
I mean, this is the type of move that, like, it's the hard move. It's the move that isn't sexy.
Yeah.
But it's the move that's going to, like, advance them as a franchise.
Exactly.
And can anybody here really say, after really digging into Jaden Ivey film, that he is a no doubt, no brainer, even all-star player? I don't think anybody, well, I do know there are some people out there that could confidently say that, but
Simon.
I'm not there. I think he certainly has that potential, but there's absolutely a world where the playmaking never comes along. The shot's a little bit more inconsistent than, you're led to believe. And the shot selection doesn't improve. He doesn't take defense all that seriously. And he just doesn't develop into the player that we know he has the potential to be. That's a realistic possibility. That could happen on the Kings. He's sharing ball handling duties, and I know that he could play off ball. I think that he can run a lot of the same actions with Sabonis that he ran with Trevion Williams. But there's a world where it's just not a clean fit, and there's only one ball, and that backcourt again gets crowded. Things get weird. This time it's really weird because they just got rid of their guard to help, open up De'Aaron Fox's game. Is he going to be pissed about that? How does that permeate through the organization? There's a lot of wild cards by taking Ivy. Keegan Murray is the guy that seems like a safe pick, but he only seems like that because the motherfucker goes about his business like a G and is a silent killer. So I like the pick for Sacramento, and that leaves Albert on the clock for Detroit.
Really quickly, no, like I'm totally with you guys. I think Murray, there's a misconception with him because he plays in New Balances. They think he's boring, but no, he's a really good player. He's just really
Zach
good.
LaVine and DeJounte Murray. They got some sauce.
I know. But Murray makes it look like not as cool as the other guys in the same shoes. It's weird. Also, shouts to Hawks draft nerd Simon for being on the pod recently, but we know he's a big Ivy guy. Here we go. Number 5. I'm going to make the correct choice. It's the right choice. It's the choice that the people want. It's the choice that the Pistons want. They're taking Dyson Daniels here at 5.
Wow.
Thought you were going a different direction there, and I was literally about to be like, okay, can we start over? Because Albert clearly doesn't understand the homework assignment, but okay, there we go.
I win, guys. Here we go. It's
now this is going to get crazy now. Okay,
all right.
Albert, go ahead.
Look who just woke up. So it's Daniels here because Daniels is the right. No, I'm just kidding. I am going to take Daniels here, but the reason why is because we're getting wild, and I think there's a very real world possibility where something like this could happen because the hype around Daniels is insane. Have you seen the TikTok videos of him training and working in the gym? He's trying to develop a mid-range game. He's working on his playmaking. You send him to Detroit, where he's a secondary playmaker to Cade. He's going to play defense for you. He's going to shoot the ball eventually, I think. He's going to offer a lot. And with the size that you have in your two wings there, you're building a contender there. So I know it sounds crazy, and I know we left Ivy on the board and Sharp on the board and blah, blah, blah. I know I've seen a lot of mocks with Mathurin even going to 5, but we're going to take Daniels here. I think it could happen. I'm not saying it will, but it could. I mean, we were shocked by Scotty Barnes last year. We were shocked by Giddey last year. We were shocked by Primo. This is a big shocker. So I'm going to go Daniels here at 5, and I think you guys will agree with me. It's possible.
I honestly haven't thought about Daniels in the context of Detroit, even a little bit. So I think this is fun. Maybe a little bit of what you wanted Killian to be, even the low end of Killian with Dyson here, bigger. I mean, even and I'm not giving up on Killian as like a role player, but you tried out like Dyson, Killian, Cade, 1 through 3. That's a big team that defends, is long, versatile, athletic. Maybe they trade Jeremy Grant for DeAndre Ayton. Who knows? I don't know. And all of a sudden you really like jump started this thing and you're building a modern team. I don't know. It could be fun. All right. At number 6, I'm going to take Jaden Ivey. And I think that the fit here is really nice for Ivy and his development. because Halliburton is exactly the guy that you want making all of the decisions that Jaden Ivey's not ready for. And I think that Jaden Ivey is much more comfortable playing off the ball than De'Aaron Fox was playing off of the ball. And I think that Halliburton is a guy who can play off the ball. So when you are giving Jaden Ivey those reps, Halliburton has no problem knocking down spot-up jumpers from the defense collapsing into the immense rim gravity that Jaden Ivey presents him. So I think that this is one of the ideas. I think like Detroit and Indiana are the two scenarios. If I was Jaden Ivey, I would either want like Sac to trade back, or I would try to be telling teams like, don't pick me. I want to fall a little bit. And that could happen. And that could lead to, Jaden Ivey falling to this spot a little bit. So I'm going to take Jaden Ivey for the Indiana Pacers, leaving Rucker with the Portland Trailblazers at pick 7.
I love that. I still think that's one of my favorite fits for Ivy. So I'm right there with you, Corey. I wish they would somehow trade again, the Pacers and the Kings, just to kind of troll all of us during the draft. But all right, I'll give you a wild card for the Portland Trailblazers. I'm gonna take Jalen Duren. I'm gonna say, the buzz has been that he's been dominating workouts. We saw the Blazers social media account tweet the photo that makes him look like the Incredible Hulk. I'm going to say they buy into the superstar upside that Duren has at the center position. They're going to get Dame a running mate. He's going to throw lobs to Duren, and Duren's going to catch everything in the world and try to break it backboard. So let's get crazy. Yeah, I'm going to say I still believe Portland could be the Duren team in the top 10. So because we're having fun and because I love you guys, we're going to get a little crazy here. So Jalen Duren to the Blazers.
This is not crazy for me.
Yeah, I don't think it's that nuts
anymore. You know that I've been a Duren guy the whole process. I have not wavered off the fact that this kid offers immense potential. I think you could look at this kid and be like, he showed enough playmaking that you could picture some Bam Adebayo maybe one day. You could picture like I think he's got that little turnaround jumper in the mid-range, little Jermaine O'Neal action, a former Blazer. They need a center of the future. Nurkic, is I believe he's a free agent this year. And regardless, he's certainly not trending upwards. So you get a guy super young. I think he could play a little bit now because he's going to physically be able to hang in the NBA right away. But he's also a guy that if you wanted to move off Dame eventually, Anthony Simons and Jalen Duren is a pretty interesting little core there to build off of, plus whatever assets you get on Dame. I'm on board with Duren to Portland.
Really appreciate that. It means a lot.
Yeah.
It's a good one. Good one.
Thank you.
All right, Albert. You have the New Orleans Pelicans, and you have a plethora of options.
Easy pick. With the 8th pick, the New Orleans Pelicans select Jeremy Sohan from the University of Baylor. The pick here is a strange one, I understand, but imagine the starting 5, not a starting 5, but imagine like a crunch time 5 of CJ, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, Brandon Ingram, and Jeremy Sohan. Just let that sit in your brain and tell me how you feel about that. Interesting stuff could happen. Sohan will be given all the freedom to develop and take his time. They're not going to rush him into anything. And he can offer them a lot as a 4, small ball 5. He can play all kinds of things for them. So Sohan's a pick here for me. I think it's weird, and I'm excited about it.
It's weird. It's weird that you forgot to list Zion in that closing lineup.
Yeah, kind of a little weird.
No, you guys know why.
But is he getting traded for the number 11 pick to the next? But look, there's been Jeremy Sohan lottery buzz. Jeremy Sohan, potential top 10 buzz. Jeremy Sohan is the guy that I've been saying for a while is like, you could see this dude jumping in the top 10, similar to Patrick Williams did a couple of years ago for Chicago. All right. With the Spurs, my wild card pick, they're going to try to strike while the iron, have lightning strike twice was the phrase I was trying to get out.
Good job.
They're going to go against the smoke. They're going to take the massive production, the gigantic hands, They're going to try to get Claw 2.0. They're going to put him with Chip England and iron out the little details in the jumper. They're taking Tari Eason at number
There
9.
it is. Wow. What a weird draft so far, guys.
I'm about to have a stroke.
What is this?
This is the wild card mock
I was
draft.
going to get really crazy with the 10th pick, but I don't know if it's as crazy as that. All right, talk to me about Tari Eason.
All right, I'm higher on Tari Eason than a lot of guys. I'm a production guy. I think if you're producing, that matters. Like
Yes.
you can, at a certain point, you can nitpick every single detail. But if a guy is putting up the production, 17 points a game in 24 minutes, what was he at? Like 6.5 rebounds a game, 2 steals, a block off the bench in limited minutes, that means something. Improved as a shooter, 80% from the line, attacks the hoop. Yes, he has things to work on. Of course. That's why he's not going top 5. Yes, he's a little bit older for his class. I'm okay with that. I still think he's got a ton of potential to be a guy who fits perfectly into the modern NBA. He's big, he's long, he's strong. I think he's got versatility. Doesn't need to play with the ball in his hands because he can cut and slash to the hoop, get into transition. And I think this is the type of organization that would really develop him in a way that could make him like the idealized version of himself. And I don't know. I would not. I think, I'm picking him as a wild card pick because I would be shocked. But I don't think if he went to San Antonio, I'd be like, oh, that's a bad pick. I'd be like, okay, they see a vision. They have a plan for this kid, and I think they could actualize it.
Fair. Very fair. I can see it.
I actually like it. It's just because I agree with you. I think if they bought in and they bought into, San Antonio is always big on they want guys that are over themselves. Mm-hmm. They want guys that will buy into the culture. So if they're convinced Tari would do that, his production was insane in the limited minutes compared to everybody else.
Stocks.
So, there you go. Stocks. I'm about to do something at 10 to the Wizards that might get me banned for a year from ever doing a podcast.
Uh-oh.
You guys can tell me, you can kick me off if you want. And I'm sorry for everyone listening because, this could be a viral moment. Going over the Wizards roster and, the point guards just don't really jump out at me at all.
Raul Neto's he's not doing that for you?
No. And I do love me some Cassius Winston, but, it's not pushing
Point
it
Denny?
forward.
I'm still in on Denny. Don't you
Point
dare
Denny?
slander Denny.
Last year or was it last year? Yeah. Last year the Spurs shook things up a little bit with a pre-draft guy. And the Wizards are going to be that one that makes all of us shake things up. So I'm going to draft someone that's going to make us all faint on draft night if this happened. I'm going to take Dalen Terry at number
10. You bastard.
Oh,
yeah.
That was my pick. You bastard.
Yeah. You guys wanted wild? I'm bringing the heat. And
You
now
and your
this
fish
would
hat.
make us, exactly. Shout out Bass Pro Shop, sponsor us. Basketball, fishing, let's get after it. It would be crazy. It would be insane. There's so much talent on the board for everyone listening, calling me a madman. Thank you. I appreciate the compliment. But I'm just saying, we don't know what direction the Wizards are going to go. Now, if they think Terry has this upside that next year he would have been a lottery pick, they could get crazy. Do I think this would happen at 10? Probably not. They would probably trade back and try to get him later. But we're not mocking trades right now. So I'm taking Dalen Terry. We're going to get some nastiness for Bradley Beal in the backcourt. And you're welcome, Albert. Now the board's really juicy for the Knicks.
Albert, you have the Knicks at 11 here. Okay. And look, you don't have to take Blake Wesley here or something. You have the choice of AJ Benedict Mathurin and Johnny Davis for the Knicks. You have Malachi Branham, you have Jalen Williams, you have some options here to make New York proud.
For sure.
The pressure's on.
We could just Ty Washington could just be the pick. We can just move on and keep this rolling.
Go New York, go is the song. Okay, here we go. So I actually wanted to take Terry at 11, but screw you, Rucker.
Yeah.
So my pick here is pretty easy. He's number 4 on my board. It's enough of the nonsense. Here we go. Johnny Davis to the New York Knicks is an absolute another grand slam. We're talking about third deck, admiring the shot, bat flip, kisses to the sky. Johnny Davis is the right choice here, and he'd be unbelievable with RJ and Quickly and Grimes and Toppin. And there's a guy I'm not mentioning, but no, it's fine. I'll mention him. Julius Randle. All these guys. He'd be an absolute great fit. So Johnny Davis, you talk about two-way potential. You talk about a guy who we have to talk about context, played on an absolute nightmare of a team in Wisconsin. So I have no problem taking Johnny Davis here at 11, and New Yorkers should be freaking out with this pick.
I mean, imagine Johnny Davis in New York. He's already getting Taco Bell commercials. Imagine the endorsements as Johnny Davis on the Knicks. That would be something to behold. Shout out to everybody watching live right now. Shout out to everybody in the chat.
I can't wait to hear these comments.
I noticed we don't have as many likes as people watching. So if you're in the chat, throw us a little subscription, a little thumbs up.
Guys, we're having fun here. Don't take it so serious. I don't need 6 DMs about my Dalen Terry at 10 pick.
Right, because Treehouse said Dalen Terry with 7 question marks after. So for anybody who is maybe hopping into this discussion midstream, this is the wild card mock draft. All right. We know that things don't play out the way consensus tells us they're going to play out on draft night. So we're getting a little crazy. We don't want to get too crazy, but we're getting a little crazy. And, a guy like Dalen Terry, like Gavoni hinted very recently that teams are calling to figure out what is his range and can we trade up or can we trade back to get him? And his answer was like, you may just need to take him if you want him because teams want him. So, it seems crazy, but crazier things have happened. So for anybody that's coming in, that's what's going on. We're getting crazy, not too crazy here. Let's hit some comments. Jake Walterhouse.
Oh gosh, Jake. Hello, Jake.
Just got my hat. It's Fuego. Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, Jake.
Yes, sir.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it.
Fuego.
We appreciate it. Anybody looking to cop the NBA draft? No ceilings snapback. No ceilings NBA.bigcartel.com. Okay. Mino F. Shout out Mino. Drop a like and subscribe, he says. Listen to the man. Norin Rad. Sohan at 8. I can see it. I wouldn't pick him though. Then he says Eason the same at 9. Could end up better than Murray. Gregory Castillo. Duran Jang, Jalen Williams for my Spurs at 9. Josh the Pels fan says Bass Pro Shops Johnny Davis commercial next.
Yes. I love that. Also, can we go back to the Spurs because I'm still confused. I've been confused for 4 months. If you had to pick one name right now, where do you think they're going? Because I don't know if Duran, I don't think it's going to happen just because it makes too much sense. And we've been mocking it for 14 years. You had to guess one guy. And this is serious. We've been having wild card fun right now, but give me a name. Albert, what are you thinking? Corey, what are you thinking?
AJ Griffin.
Ooh, yeah, I kind of like that wrinkle a little bit. I think he's going to be there. Yeah. Sohan Buzz is top 10. I think AJ is going to be around the Spurs pick. I think he's going to be there still.
Yeah, I was thinking AJ Griffin too.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
All right.
Thank you for your service.
I'm on the clock for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And keeping on topic, I'm going to take AJ Griffin.
There it is.
Amazing. There it is.
Bingo.
I think that if Sam Presti, who traded away pick 30 to Denver, walks away from this draft in the first round with Chet Holmgren and AJ Griffin, he should get a damn statue.
Yeah.
That to me is just a straight up heist So, I mean, to me, AJ Griffin, again, I've said it a few times out loud now, like he's my third ranked prospect right now. I love his fit in the modern NBA. I think that he's got stuff in his bag that he wasn't given the opportunity to show at Duke. I think that his the context of him getting hurt and having to fit in hid some of that. I think he's going to get his athleticism back. I think they're going to get him right physically, like maybe have him drop a little bit of the bulk, lean out a little bit. So it gives him a little bit more quickness out on the perimeter, but I love his strength. I love his tools, and playing off of Josh Giddey and SGA and Chet is just going to make his life so damn easy. And I think it's going to ultimately, he could be the second guy on that team that late in a playoff game you can go to get a bucket with SGA. So I think that would be just a tremendous, tremendous pull for Sam Presti and the OKC Thunder. That means that Rucker, you're on the clock at 13 for the Charlotte Hornets.
I'm going to stop the fall and not that one. I'm going to take Benedict Mathurin here for the Charlotte Hornets. I know everyone in the chat is probably screaming for another player that plays a similar position, but no, I'm not taking him. I think Charlotte needs some dogs. They need some guys that are going to come in and compete and play like crazy. I love the Kenny Atkinson hire. I think that's perfect for that team, and Mathurin would be an absolute dream for them. So
here we go.
I'm going to be smart for once in this draft.
This is easy, guys, because the Cavs always somehow end up with the first pick of the draft. And here at 14, they're going to end up with a guy who I said earlier could have gone number one in some weird reality. At 14, the last pick of the lottery, the Cleveland Cavaliers select Shaedon Sharpe out of the University of Kentucky, which is the weirdest, I think, outcome of our weird exercise here, and that somehow Sharpe falls 14. Now, here's the thing, dude. It could happen. It actually could happen because people have no idea what this guy looks like, and he's like the boogeyman. He's Bigfoot. So we have Shaedon Sharpe going 14. Okoro, hasn't really flashed much. Shaedon Sharpe's going to come in, and he's going to offer something different. He can shoot, and he's super athletic. Not that Okoro's not athletic, but he's super athletic, fluid, can shoot, good handle on him, star potential with him. Even if you offload Sexton one day or, Okoro or whatever, you've got options now with Sharpe. So Sharpe going 14 is pretty crazy, but that's the pick.
I did see it.
Oh, go ahead, Corey.
No, I did see that it looks like he's competing in
Portland
workouts.
I saw that.
Like he's playing actively against other prospects. It seemed like, I don't know how competitive if it's just drills or if he's playing like 3-on-3s or whatever, but do you think that can give teams a little bit more perspective on what he looks like in a competitive setting, Rucker?
Well, Gavoni even threw a little breadcrumb of he's competing in those, but he was struggling, and it was like against Mathurin and one more name I'm blanking on right now. Maybe Johnny? I don't know. But anyway, or maybe it was Daniels or something. But I was like, ooh, that's not good. Because there was some buzz about him slipping a little bit. And now it seems like it's heating up even more. So I don't think it's going to be unrealistic if he slips more towards the 10, like bottom of the 10, top 10. It's just, he's the wild card. He is this mock draft. Like, he is the wild card right now because all those teams picking early, like there's no doubt that Sharpe has the potential to be, like Albert said in the beginning of the episode, like he has the potential to years down the road. We look back and we're like, oh my gosh, Shaedon Sharpe should have gone so much earlier, but you got to have the balls picking early to take a guy like that and wait and be patient and really stress that. So it won't surprise me if he goes later than we're all expecting. I don't know. I'm fascinated to see if, John Calipari is always at the draft, like repping his Kentucky guys. I wonder if he's just going to be like, yeah, just great kid, never got to coach or play, but I just great kid.
Well, he plays the game. He's going to sell whatever there is to sell for Shaedon Sharpe because he knows, like, another guy in the lottery, means that the top guys are going to continue to keep going to Kentucky,
right?
Even if it's just as a practice player. I'm on the clock for Charlotte. They took Mathurin at 13. That's an absolute steal. I can't wait to see the depth chart battle between him and James Bouknight. But at 15, I'm taking Mark Williams because this is just, I know it's a wild card draft, but the wild cardness landed them Mathurin at this point. They're doing the right thing here with their second pick. If they make 2 picks, and they're going to take Mark Williams because they just need that kind of center. Now, I do want to stick with Charlotte here for a second without going too deep into Mark Williams, because Rucker, on the No Ceilings NBA Draft podcast, you recently had a Charlotte Hornets themed episode.
Yes, James Plowright was great. Had a great
shout
time.
out. He cool accent.
Yes, loved it.
Ladies love it, I bet.
Yeah, jealous.
Big time.
Don't tell my fiance, but jealous.
Yeah. So there was a point in the podcast where he threw out a trade, and I thought you were going to go to war for my guy. And
being a little polite, Corey. It's called etiquette. Okay, I was trying to be nice to the guys.
I thought you were going to go to war for my guy when he threw out the Davion Mitchell plus pieces for PJ Washington, who it seems like Charlotte doesn't even want.
He said Davion for PJ right up, and I was like kind of looking at my desk, and I was like, so I kind of like my desk. I don't really want to flip it. And then I was like, yeah, that wouldn't be a good idea. So I was trying to be polite. I was like,
being polite. I get it.
I get it. But PJ is interesting because I'm like, is something going to happen with him? Are they going to try to move him? Are they just like, hey, going to go another direction? We're going to find something else. So because he did say, James said, it was funny because he said, I don't think they're going to keep both picks. I think they're going to trade one. And then Gavoni today was like, that's the rumor around the league. And I was like, thank you, James. Gavoni's basically stealing tidbits from our podcast, so I appreciate it. But yeah, no. When he said Davion, I was like, James, I love you, but come on, man, come back to earth.
And you know what hurts the most? Because I felt the pain in your voice.
It was,
but it felt like Metcalf really meant it.
When Metcalf said it, I was like, Metcalf, what? Just like, what are you doing? But hey, Ty.
I think that like people within the league value Davion more than the scouting community online does. That's all I'll say. I got to go to war for my guy Davion.
No, I appreciate it. I knew I was going to get some beef.
It's fresh on my mind. That's why I invited you on tonight. Albert, Rucker, you have the Atlanta Hawks at 16.
Everyone says Atlanta needs some defense, and they're going to say, to hell with that. Let's get some more buckets. So they're going to take Jaden Hardy.
Okay.
Ooh, yeah. Shout out Simon. I'm back. I still am fascinated to see where Hardy ends up. I think he's going to be a guy that wherever he goes, he's going to have that chip on his shoulder of like, okay, all these teams don't believe in me. Like, let me prove it. And I know Atlanta needs defense. They could go in a number of different directions. I think Atlanta's up to something. I think they're going to make some news in the next week. There's been a lot of buzz about John Collins. There's been a lot of buzz about Clint Capella. They're up to something. They're never afraid to go swing. So I'll be shocked at this point if they're still picking 16th, but we'll see what happens. They got to get someone to bite.
I agree. Where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yes.
Albert, you are on the clock for the Houston Rockets at pick 17.
Okay. Ochai Agbaji is a pick here at 17. If the Rockets walk away with Jabari Smith and Ochai Agbaji, that's an insane haul for them. Both of those guys are going to offer defense and shooting and more. Athleticism too, especially with Agbaji. Holy crap. So I'm very intrigued with that. I could see he could start from day one, especially Agbaji and Smith, actually. What am I saying? If they offload Eric Gordon too, even better. And then you can bring Josh Christopher off the bench for sure. I love Christopher too. So I think that gives him a lot of options, a lot of shooting. So Agbaji is an easy pick there for me. And and I'm taking him above some other guys too that are still on the board. So I like the Agbaji pick here.
I like it here as well. Agbaji, I'm going with my gut with him, and he's landed back at number 10 on my board because
Let's go.
Love this.
I just a lot of people think that he's going to be like the boring guy who's an older upperclassman, and it all comes back. I've said it a few times on the pod. I've said it in the group chat. I'm probably going to end up writing. Maybe I'll write about it like in the off season. Like, is winning a skill? There are certain guys that are a dream, but they're just a dream, and it's such a long shot that they turn out to be what you envision them. Whereas Ochai Agbaji is a guy who got better every single year.
Yep.
That to me is not a deterrent to say he doesn't have upside, because when you get better every year, it means you're putting in work on things to improve, and his improvements are tangible. You saw the results. So why can't he get better than what he's shown? He hasn't capped out yet. And baseline, athletic wing that could shoot in a variety of contexts and defend. And like really athletic, like alley-oop lob threat type athletic.
Yep.
Lit up the Garden when I saw him live. And it goes back to how I felt about Mikal Bridges, where I was just like, some guys just contribute to winning, and you might take Kevin Knox instead, but you're going to probably regret it.
Too soon.
So
Never too soon.
I love Ochai on Houston. I love him as a running mate on the wing for Jalen Green. And I love the shooting and the spacing that team has with Jalen Green, Ochai Agbaji, and Jabari Smith. It's so much fun. Imagine backdoor cuts for Jalen Green and Ochai Agbaji with Alperen Şengün at the elbow. Just no look between the legs. Like, let's go.
This guy, Norin Rad in the comments says, doesn't have tools, not elite athlete. Agbaji doesn't have the upside. C-, bruh. Sorry.
All right. Well, yeah, we're going to see.
That's what they said about Mikal Bridges. I think every team wants Bridges right now.
Yep. Made himself a lot of money. I have the Chicago Bulls. Somehow, I didn't plan this at all. Albert got the New York Knicks pick. I got the Chicago Bulls pick. The Celtics don't have a pick for Rucker, so we all ended up winning here because the Celtics pick that they traded might actually end up ultimately helping them win an NBA championship.
Hope so.
Boom.
Sure.
The Chicago Bulls are going to take Patrick Baldwin Jr.
Ho.
Again,
party started.
We just spoke with our friend Ricky O'Donnell, who we mentioned earlier, who is also a Bulls fan. And he just wrote an excellent piece on Patrick Baldwin Jr. because, he got the opportunity to speak with him about his journey and his struggles through injury. And when I think of a guy like Patrick Baldwin Jr., who was the best player in his class for a long time, and who is a guy who came in with pedigree as a top-ranked player, and I look at Arturas Karnisovas, who was a part of that Denver front office, who drafted Michael Porter Jr., Bol, drafted RJ Hampton, just a bunch of guys who came in as high-ranked prospects, dropped, but they bet on the pedigree. Because if you hit on a guy like that, it's a major, major win. So I know his athletic testing was poor, but he measured, like 6'10 and a half, 7+ wingspan. The Bulls need more shooting. They need size in the front court, or from the wingy front court guys. Patrick Baldwin Jr., upside play for the Chicago Bulls in this wild card mock draft. Rucker, you are on the clock for Tyler Metcalf's Minnesota Timberwolves. And after the Davion stuff, I might just give him Blake Wesley and skip him.
This is a little weird spot because I know who's been projected there a lot, and that's probably still one of my favorite fits. But I'm this is the wild card mock, so I'm gonna go a little different. I'm gonna take a guy that I'm a little shocked he's still on the board, because I think they're just gonna take value here. The T-Wolves are gonna add another solid piece. I'm gonna take Malachi Branham.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
I know they got Ant-Man. I get it. But I also think that's a luxury to have where you can bring Branham off in the rotation and really develop his game and have him as like an offensive spark plug. So I think Minnesota looked at him and he's still on the board. They'd be like, heck, yes, just add him to the roster. Let's get some more weapons.
I like it. I think you can never go wrong with guys who are efficient from every spot on the floor.
Yeah,
every guard spot and can play on and off the ball. Albert, you have the San Antonio Spurs at 20. You also have I had the San Antonio Spurs. So we took Tari Eason at 9. What are they going to do at pick 20?
At pick 20, the San Antonio Spurs select EJ Liddell out of Ohio State is the pick there. Easy pick. He was an unbelievable shot blocker last season. I think he's going to shoot it well enough. I know his shot is a little line drivey, but don't care. It looks good. It goes in. I'm happy with it. He's going to offer so much versatility. I think he's I think it's a great pick. I know I made the pick, so that's stupid for me to say, but I think it's a good fit and it makes sense to me. So eat it and take it, San Antonio.
There it is. San Antonio Spurs.
Guys.
Eat it and take it from Albert. Okay. I have pick 21. I have the Denver Nuggets. And for the Denver Nuggets, I'm going to take Max Christie.
Oh, wow.
Good pick.
Okay. I wasn't expecting that. Cool.
Yeah. I'm going to take Max Christie. We all got vibes that Max Christie, there was something kind of up with him. We promise season going strong.
Promise season.
He's the kind of guy that I think, would play really well on Denver off of Jokic. Just a guy who is able to knock down shots, a little bit of off the bounce potential, good length, defends, doesn't need the ball to succeed. He could play off of Murray. He could play off of Jokic. Easy fit, two-way guy down the line. Max Christie, 21 to the Denver Nuggets. Rucker, you're on the clock at 22 for the Memphis Grizzlies.
I mean, Memphis does a great job in the draft. They're gonna take another guy that's been a hot name. They're gonna take Jalen Williams. Santa Clara, Jalen Williams.
Every time.
Green room invite.
Yes,
Jalen
green
Williams.
room invite. Jalen Williams,
it.
please send us a cut. I just kind of think that I still think he's going to go much earlier than this, but I think Memphis would be like, hey, we'll take it. He'll be a versatile asset in the rotation, and I could eventually see him playing alongside Morant down the road. So
easily,
I love it. Yeah, easily. So I love that.
I love it. We're all huge fans of Jalen Williams. You both wrote about Jalen Williams.
We did.
So he's been a guy we've long been a fan of. Lottery level talent. We talked before we went on. We talked about how you guys are lucky that you're based on the West Coast, because for me to stay up and watch West Coast games, it's like games that start at 11 p.m. when your boys got work at 6 a.m. in the morning. Like, that's just nutty. So one more reason that everyone should go buy the draft guide and some merch at NoCeilingsNBA.BigCartel.com. So, quit my job. Albert, you have at pick 23 the Philadelphia 76ers.
Here we go. Let's get Embiid some shooting, but also a little secondary playmaking, little size. The pick here is Jake LaRavia from Wake Forest. I think, look, this is a wild card draft, right? But even in the real draft, it could happen. I could see LaRavia moving all the way up to 23. I think the smoke is there. I think it's possible. I think he'll offer them a lot. He's more athletic than people think. Good shooter. I think he's going to offer them all kinds of versatility. So, boom, Jake LaRavia.
Love that pick. Love Jake as a prospect. Obviously, you could head to the NBA Draft Dude YouTube channel. Got a chance to hang out for a couple of days, watch him work out in preparation for the draft, interview him. Super hard worker. I love his skill set. I think you could play him in the front court with Embiid. Keeps the ball moving. Perfect for the modern NBA. That's a great pick. That's a great pick, Albert. All right, I'm on the clock at pick 24 for the Milwaukee Bucks. And at pick 24, I am going to take someone who has slid in this wild card mock draft, but they are not scared to take underdeveloped frames with a load of potential and a ton of ball skills and may still be growing. I'm going to take Ousmane Dieng for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Great.
It's a good pick. I'm a little surprised he fell, but there's going to be someone that falls on draft night. There's going to be 3 guys that fall on draft night compared to the consensus. So that'd be a fun fit for Milwaukee. They pretty much just say, this is Giannis. He's done exactly what you need to do. Please follow him every single day.
You live with him now.
Yeah, you live with him now. We got an extra bedroom.
You could be Thanasis, Giannis.
Be his bodyguard on the bench, please. Hold him back from running on the court.
Usmanis, you got to change your name.
Oh, gosh. We're having fun.
The Spurs are back on the clock for you, Rucker, at 25.
So we got EJ Liddell and Tari Eason, which I actually weirdly kind of like because we're just building up the front court. I'm going to add another piece. I'm going to get a little weird.
Okay.
I never thought I'd do this. But I also saw in Vegas his over-under is in the first round, and it's a lot higher than I thought.
Okay.
I'm going to take Walker Kessler.
All right.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little lower on Walker Kessler. I understand everyone that has him higher. It's hard to ignore with the numbers he just put up for a shot blocking big man. I mean, I think it's like some of the best of all time. No big deal. But I still could see someone in the first round buying the tools, because he's a legit shot blocker. He's a threat. If someone's convinced he can get out there and switch and guard multiple positions, for sure. And San Antonio is a great place for someone like that to go, where they can figure out how to almost hide his weaknesses or improve his weaknesses to really stick out there. So, I mean, it's not the most traditional, but if the Spurs left, like, we know the Spurs need front court help. If they left with Tari Eason, EJ Liddell, and Walker Kessler, that's nice. Yeah, I mean, you really add in some depth and some fun pieces.
Yeah, look, again, we talked about the production thing. Sometimes you just can't deny it. Now, I do think there's overlap with Pirtle, but who knows? Maybe this gives them an opportunity to go and get assets for Pirtle. With somebody who they think early on can kind of give some of the same stuff and, allow them to build out that roster a little bit differently. Let's head to the chat one more time. Before
Love the chat.
Yeah.
They're probably really nice with this mock draft. They're probably
before
really
we hit
pumped about it.
The last 5 guys. Okay. Rain Gibbs says Davion is a winner.
Yes, he is.
My guy.
Night off.
When we mentioned Kevin Knox, Gregory Castillo says future Jets tight end Kevin Knox.
That joke.
Giants.
Hall of
Giants.
Fame.
After I selected Patrick Baldwin Jr., Gregory Castillo says Lonzo, Caruso, and Ayo going to be running for their lives trying to defend. Well, Phantom TV says Patrick Baldwin is elite. Watch his games. He's going to be Devin Booker. So take that, Gregory. Norin Rad loves the Branham pick.
I made it, guys.
You know?
I get it. Come on. I made up for it. I made up for my Dalen Terry pick, so I appreciate it.
Shout out producer extraordinaire Kevin Black, who says, has Lonzo Ball been brought up yet? And oddly enough, I believe we did just bring him up talking about the Bulls defense running for their lives.
Kevin will talk to anyone about Lonzo Ball. Just message him. If you really like Lonzo Ball, just message Kevin. Shout out Kevin. Thanks. Appreciate it.
And then lastly, before we head back, Jay Medina 210 says, I love EJ Liddell at 20 for the Spurs. What's not to like? What's not to like? EJ Liddell is an underrated prospect.
Here's my wild card question. Is there a world where EJ Liddell and Tari Eason go to the Spurs, but the numbers switched? So Tari Eason was the 20th pick and EJ Liddell was at 9. Because I think EJ's been dominating interviews, and that is my wild card, is he goes a lot earlier than we're ready for. And the Spurs would do it if they love him at 9. But, I promise I'm sober.
I think that's early for him.
I agree.
It wouldn't shock me if he did go lottery.
Late lotto, you're thinking?
But I also, asking around, somebody I trust was like, I love EJ. He's going to be better than people picked ahead of him, but he's probably going to go later than he should.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, and if he went 20 to San Antonio, we'd look back and be like, oh, he's better than guys in front of him. He went later than he should. So the math checks out there. All right, Albert, you're on the clock at number 26 for the Houston Rockets. Houston took Jabari. Houston took Ochai Agbaji. You picked for them last time. Who are they taking with their newly acquired 26 pick that they got in exchange, mainly for Christian Wood?
This will probably be my last wild card pick that people are going to freaking hate in the comments, but it's okay. I'm doing this because of the exercise. I'm doing it because I think it's fun. Here we go. With the 26th pick, the Houston Rockets select Jan Montero from Overtime Elite. I think, John Wall isn't really playing for them, and I think they could use a backup point guard or a point guard, regardless, whatever. I'm going to send Jan Montero here, and I think it's interesting. It's my last wild card pick. So, once again, eat it.
I'm still on the Jan Montero bandwagon. I'm a believer. I watched a lot of Jan Montero games. He's super young. He's got pro experience overseas.
Right.
I wish he was an inch or two taller. I do. But I think he's a feisty defender. I don't think it's something people talk about with him. I believe that his shot could be cleaned up enough that it becomes a viable option. I like his creativity. I like his playmaking. I like the speed. I like the tools. I like the pick here. This is, to me, a good upside pick when you have 3 picks. He also could be Roddy Beaubois.
Could be.
But I like it. I'm a Montero guy. I know he's taken a fall from grace, but I'm okay with it, especially after you get Jabari Smith and Ochai Agbaji. You played it, quote-unquote, safe at 17. You could take a shot at the back end of the first round with Jan Montero here.
Bingo.
All right. I am on the clock at pick 27 for the Miami Heat. And my wild card for the Miami Heat is going to be Peyton Watson.
There it is.
I was just about to take him.
And I think that Watson, obviously he's skinny. His frame isn't fully developed, but he is the theoretical type of player that I bet the Miami Heat wish they had in the series against the Boston Celtics and all of their gigantic wings. I bet they wish that they just had somebody like Peyton Watson to throw on Tatum. Long, athletic, quick twitch, like a little bit of of FU in him. I still think he goes first round. So what an environment for him to develop in. It's a wild card pick, I guess, because of, how far he slid compared to where he was in the year, but I still think this is a pretty realistic outcome for the Heat.
I think he's going to go in the first round.
Yep.
That's the buzz. I think he's going to go in the first round. I think someone's going to say, we don't care about the year. He's the Jaden McDaniels.
Right.
Just the nightmare year, but had the really strong high school career, FIBA career.
Late bloomer.
Because me and Albert saw him in person. And me and Albert will tell anyone, like, when he was clicking, my goodness. Albert, who was it against? Was it USC? It was UCLA USC, the game that he was just going nuts. And we were like, my goodness, he looks like the best guy on the court right now. Like, when he was rolling, he had this.
Yeah, you guys saw his best game, right?
Yeah. His best game. Yep.
And it was a 2-minute stretch of just like block, assist, steal, block. Like, we were like, what? Let him run wild. So I think someone, like, if Miami took him, oh man, I would be buying all the stock I could, because they would just take their time and unleash a monster eventually. So that Peyton Watson's literally from the upside down. He's just waiting to get to battle 11.
You have the Warriors at 28.
I'm gonna get crazy here.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Golden State's playing in the NBA Finals right now. Everyone in the league, NBA is a copycat league, so everyone likes to copy what teams are having success. Boston Celtics have not a typical point guard, but Marcus Smart is a defensive anchor that has been running the show and effectively. So Golden State's going to get a defensive point guard in their depth chart. They're going to take Trevor Keels.
Okay.
They're going to get some nastiness, and Jordan Poole tries to go crazy in practice. Keels is just going to lock him up and show him what's up. So no, but I think Golden State could go in a number of different directions. I think they still could look for a developmental guy, but I also like them getting some depth behind Steph in the rotation. Some guys that might be able to, slowly develop long-term into a nasty asset where if Keels hits his stride, Kuminga, Wiseman, still have my stock.
Same. I bought more.
Moody Moses. That's a nice little core. And I just believe in it. And, Jordan Poole's probably going to get paid and stay there. So shaking things up.
I like it.
Thank you.
That's a good landing spot for Keels. And Keels is one of those guys where and I think I messaged you about it one time. I was like watching some Keels stuff and I was like, man, like, isn't he just going to be a guy who the numbers aren't popping, but he just keeps playing on winning teams?
I feel like he's going to be a guy that people are going to chase stats, and Keels is going to be a guy that is playing at the end of games.
Yeah.
And especially in the playoffs, like Keels is making plays and locking up guys, and especially a guy like that he's still so young. If he goes to a culture like Golden State where they just can slowly develop them, like Kuminga is going to be a monster next year. And then you add that, and Wiseman's still going to be good. I don't care what anyone says. So I like it. I'm thinking outside the box there because I feel like I've done the same projection to the Warriors for months.
That's why this is the wild card mock draft.
We're having fun.
We're getting wild. The breaks have been cut.
No breaks. No breaks.
The breaks were cut when we took Walker Kessler at 25, Jan Montero at 26, I think.
Yeah.
That stretch is pretty gnarly. Kessler, Montero, Watson, Keels is just a heck of a way to have a run in the first round.
We got two more picks. Albert, you have the Grizzlies on the clock again at 29. Earlier, Rucker took Jalen Williams for the Grizzlies. So where are you going at 29?
This guy's getting some first round buzz, probably second rounder, but it's okay. This is me expecting Tyus Jones to leave too. I think he's unrestricted. With the 29th pick, the Memphis Grizzlies select Andrew Nembhard from Gonzaga. 6'5" point guard, can shoot it, can pass. He's not like an elite playmaker, but as a backup guard, I think he can do plenty. If you're going to lose Tyus Jones, bringing in a mature guy who's done it for a long time in college to a lot of success. I think Nembhard would be a great backup point guard for them if they lose Tyus Jones. So that's kind of my wild card here. I know maybe 29 might be high for some, but I think it's real. I think there's real smoke there where he can go at a slot like this. So Nembhard is the pick.
I quite enjoy that as a wild card selection because it's not sexy. It's something people are going to probably be listening to this or watching this and going like, oh man, like, Kamagate is on the board or David Rye. And it's like Nembhard, I think, made an impression at the combine in a really positive way. So I could see that. And that would be a savvy cost saving maneuver for that Grizzlies team. All right. I have the last pick. I have the Denver Nuggets, who traded into this draft with the 30th pick. They took Max Christie at 21, which I took for them as well. So at 30, I am going to take in the first round with the last pick from the overtime elite, Dom Barlow.
Wow. You animal. You did this whole podcast segment just to take Barlow at the last pick, didn't you? I'm on to you, Corey.
Once again, You
Wow.
figured me out.
Yes.
Yeah. A lot of Barlow buzz.
A lot of Barlow buzz.
And before the buzz was online, I feel like we were getting little hints of intel that, like, hey, Barlow could be a guy who starts rising in this process. And, you know, I saw recently the Bulls worked him out. And I was like, oh, okay, I got to start paying attention. All right. But as a wild card pick, 30th pick in the draft for the Nuggets, he's a guy who you can envision developing into a modern NBA wing. A 4 who can guard threes on the perimeter, maybe is big enough and athletic enough to switch on to 5s, can one day knock down shots, playing off of, Jokic. He's going to be athletic. He's going to make plays. It's not what I would do, but in this wild card mock draft and with some of the intel, Dom Barlow closing out the first round. Let's fly through this top 30. Okay. Orlando takes Paulo Banchero. The Thunder take Chet Holmgren. The Rockets take Jabari Smith at 3. At 4, we have Keegan Murray. At 5 to Detroit, we have Dyson Daniels. Really started shaking things up there. At 6 to the Pacers, Jaden Ivey. At 7 to the Blazers, Jalen Duren. 8 to the Pelicans, Jeremy Sohan. 9 to the Spurs, Tari Eason. 10 to the Wizards, Dalen Terry. 11 to the Knicks, Johnny Davis. Number 12 to the Thunder, AJ Griffin. 13 to the Hornets, Benedict Mathurin. 14 to the Cavaliers, Shaden Sharp. Wild card bitches. 15 to the Hornets, Mark Williams. 16 to the Hawks, Jaden Hardy. 17 to the Rockets, Ochai Agbaji. 18 to the Bulls, Patrick Baldwin Jr. 19 to the Timberwolves, Malachi Branham. 20 to the Spurs, EJ Liddell. 21 to the Nuggets, Max Christie. 22 to the Grizzlies, Jalen Williams. 23 to the Sixers, Jake LaRavia. 24 to the Milwaukee Bucks, Ousmane Dieng. 25 to the Spurs, Walker Kessler. 26 to the Rockets, Jan Montero. 27 to the Miami Heat, Peyton Watson. At 28 to the Golden State Warriors, Trevor Keels. 29 to Memphis, Andrew Nembhard. And 30 to the Denver Nuggets, Dom Barlow. That is the wild card mock draft, first round for the Draft Act NBA Draft Podcast. That was interesting.
Yeah, very crazy. And now for everyone listening, you can expect the truth that no, we don't think any of this is going to probably happen except for the top 3 being in some order. So calm
maybe
down.
Some
everyone.
of it. Maybe some of it.
Some of it, but
maybe some of it might happen.
We've done 900 mock drafts, so it's fun to all of a sudden just be like, let's just be insane and throw nothing but curveballs the entire night. So yes, everyone that listened, like, calm down. We know this is a little out there. That's the point of the exercise.
But honestly, like, if I'm staring at the piece of paper, I'm staring at the list, and outside of, like, I don't think Shaden Sharp is going to drop to the back end of the lottery.
No, right.
I don't think that Ivy is going to fall to 6.
Right.
I don't think Terry's going to go 10.
No.
So yeah, there are crazy picks that we sprinkled in but I do think that the range that some of these guys were taken could be legitimate. I could see Dalen Terry not going as high as 10, but maybe he does go to Cleveland at 14.
Yeah.
That's something that wouldn't shock me. Maybe he's the guy at 16 to Atlanta. That's not crazy far from where we picked him. So there are things here and there, but I could see Nembhard going first round. I could see a team swinging on Watson or Barlow. Jake LaRavia to Philly, that makes some sense. Maybe, there's a lot of smoke that they're looking to move on from Tybal. Maybe he takes some of those rotation minutes. There are things that I could totally see happening here in this draft. And that's why this is fun, because as we know, the consensus is not going to be right on draft night. And the mock drafts that we see may look as crazy as the wild card mock draft looks on this episode once we actually see the results on draft night. So that's why this was fun, because we're going to see just how crazy we actually got on draft night. And we have a fun live draft stream coming to you. Information on the No Ceiling socials we are dropping. As you're listening to this, actually, the announcement has probably already happened. If you're watching live, we have not dropped it yet. If you're listening to this, the announcement already has happened. So we got a fun announcement about the draft stream. The whole No Ceilings team is going to be making appearances. We're going to have some fun plot twists during the stream that we're excited to announce. And a lot of fun stuff happening at NoCeilingsNBA.com in the next week or so leading up to the draft. If you have not done it yet, we released the No Ceilings 2022 official NBA draft guide with 58 scouting reports. It's very pretty. So if you haven't copped that yet and you want to do some research on some of the prospects, go after it. You know, it's $10. It's affordable. And if not, hit the search bar on NoCeilingsNBA.com and you could find something on just about any of the prospects that we've talked about or that you could possibly be searching for this year. With that said, Rucker, tell the people where they can find you on the internets.
I'm at Tyler_Rucker on Twitter, and I'm at Backcourt V. But most importantly, I'm at NoCeilingsNBA.com with these two animals. And thank you guys all for listening. Make sure you do check out the draft guide. Corey did some absolutely incredible stuff with the design. It turned out beautifully. So I promise you wouldn't be disappointed if you haven't gotten it already. And thank you guys for having me on. I can't believe tomorrow we're going to wake up and have a week until Christmas. It's going to be just absolute anarchy. And I couldn't be more pumped about it.
For sure. And you know what's crazy, guys? It was about, 10 months ago that we sat on one of these kind of very calls and the inception of No Ceilings began. Less than a year ago, but almost it was like 10 months ago. So magic happens when we all come together.
Yes.
Albert, tell the people where they can find you.
You could find me on the internet at Alberto Gim. I won't even lie to you guys. Corey and I, we're wrapping up almost 3 hours of content right now, and I'm like starting to hit E on the gas meter right now. But guys, just want to say it's been awesome. It's been so much fun doing this, and we love you guys. And I cannot believe, as Rucker just said, that we are freaking a week away from draft day. Also, Corey, we have to put this wildcard mock draft on Twitter because people are going to absolutely lose their crap, dude. It's going to be amazing.
100% it's going on Twitter. 100%.
Throwing my phone into the ocean. I live in Arizona, so that might be a challenge.
It's gonna be an iffy thing, but if you want, you can mail me your phone and I can throw it in the Atlantic Ocean.
There's some stuff. Nah, I'm good. I'll keep it. I'll just lock it away or something.
All right, that sounds. We'll warn you before we post it. You can find me at Corey Tulaba on Twitter, NBA Draft Dude on YouTube. Go check out Rucker and I's piece at NoCeilingsNBA.com on why we believe Chet Holmgren is the number one pick and people are overthinking him. And if you haven't yet, rate and review the podcast and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe to No Ceilings TV. And thank you for rocking with us, guys. This was a lot of fun this episode. The conductor of chaos comes on the Draft Deck podcast. There's no other way it could be. So until next time, we are out. Peace.